This is the Kitchen Sink WP podcast, episode 613.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Hello, everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have 4 next weekend. Even though here in the U.S. we have Thanksgiving break next weekend, doesn't mean that camps can't happen. So there are 4 WordCamps next weekend, which is awesome. WordCamp Netherlands, the 27th and 28th. WordCamp Brazil, 28th, 29th. WordCamp Sofia in Bulgaria, 29th and 30th, I believe. And also Jakarta Site Editor Workshop, also on November 27th. So yeah, 4 events. Those look to be amazing. Wish I could make it, but I cannot. All right, moving on, segment 1 in the news. One thing to talk about this week, and that is the fact that Adobe has bought SEMRush. For a chunk of money, $1.9 billion cash deal. I'll put a link in the show notes on this. It's quite the, it's crazy. I mean, SEMRush has tools that will be folded into Adobe's digital experience, the ADE things, Business Track to help with AI platforms. I'm just reading like the little bullet points here for you if you don't want to go to the website and look at it. So yeah, it's a big deal in the space of search engine and marketing and Adobe, all those things. So the timeline looks to be, does it say here? It doesn't have the timeline here. The agreement was signed on November 18th. And I guess they need to get approval of SEMRush shareholders, and then Adobe, they need to operate as separate companies until it goes through. Pretty crazy. So check that out if you're interested. $1.9 billion. That's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. All right, moving on. Segment 2, the meat and potatoes of this week's episode. So in case you missed it, a few months back, 5 actually to be exact, I joined Web Dev Studios as an account manager. I'm still running Concierge until January, when ideally the sale of my that entity will go through. And I'm reminding you this because I realized that being an account manager is different than being an account project, like having accounts or project managing, if you will, which is totally different than running your own shop when you do all the things, right? So over the next few months, and my plan is to find a tool or create a tool, i.e. vibe code something, to help me elevate my game as an account manager, because I realize that many people may say, why not just use a CRM, a customer relationship manager? But account management feels a little different to me. At least in my world, it's less about marketing touch points and more about keeping projects, clients, those accounts happy and keeping myself from forgetting things. That's important, right? So maybe what I don't need, what's not needed is a CRM. Maybe it's an ARM, an account relationship manager, or an AMT, an account management tool. Honestly, I might just be completely wrong here on the terminology. I don't know. And I'm okay admitting that, but I know that I need something that works better than I'm doing now because it's not my company and I need to make sure I don't drop the ball. So here's what the series is going to be. 4 or 5 episodes, okay, maybe 6 or 7, spread out over the next, couple months. I want to give these tools and services a fair real world shot, some experience using them, where I'm going to try these tools, real usage, real notes, some frustrations possibly, and then my verdict. So this is not going to be a tech review podcast episode series, more just like here's me trying to do my day-to-day work life without losing my mind, because I don't want to miss, an important date for a client's, an account, if you will, project. So with that, we are kicking things off this week with Evernote. Yes, the literal elephant in the room. And the reason I say elephant is because it is the logo of the brand, if you will. Okay. And just a quick little thing here. The other tools I'm going to be testing initially are going to be Obsidian, ClickUp, and probably some vibe-coded tool using Lovable or Replit. I don't know yet. And if you have any suggestions, by all means, let me know. I can always add it to the series. Okay, so why did I try Evernote? Well, it's because of a few reasons. And I realize a lot of people don't like Evernote, and it has a bad taste and a lot of haters these days. And for good reason. The company spent years trying to be everything to everyone. They added different apps, scanners, features on features. It got messy, but I use it because I'm grandfathered in, and it's an amazing price point. I mean, I've had it probably for, I don't know, 15 years. I think I pay $50 a year tops. So it has always worked for me as what I call the reliable file cabinet. I email things into it. I store receipts, ideas. And for me, it's been rock solid. It syncs to my phone as well. Over the last year, since Bending Spoons bought it, it's gotten actually faster, less buggy, and more focused. And it gets updates all the time, almost too often, but nonetheless, it's okay. At least it's getting updated, right? So maybe it has some functionality that I can use, something more structured like an account management tool. So could I turn it into the dashboard I want? So how I set it up and how I tested it. I started researching what it could do. I did some Googling, and I realized it now has what's called spaces. So that way I could separate work from personal. I went ahead and created a workspace. Inside of spaces, I created a notebook for the account. And there's also templates. And templates would be pretty cool. That way I could have a consistency in meeting notes and action items, right? And there's also integrations with like calendars, Google Calendar, which I use daily. Okay. So I added some dummy data to test the flow. Then I used it for real work client for about 3 weeks. Yeah, about 3 weeks. And I had some hit some limits. Okay. I ran quickly into something that kind of bugged me. I can have a customer with multiple projects, but Evernote doesn't really handle the hierarchy well. You can make more spaces or more notebooks and more notes inside of those, but then it becomes kind of like what I felt like a nesting doll situation. So that wasn't ideal to me. It just didn't sit right. Okay. The other paths you can consider, both in my opinion, slightly flawed, a space per customer, a notebook for each project, notes inside. Or one main space, notebooks per customer, notes for each project. And yes, both technically worked, but it just felt messy. And I just didn't like it in that sense. And at the last minute, I realized you can also tag things, or not tag, you can backlink, I think that's what it's called, to other notes. So that could work, but by the time I found that out, it was too late for me. So the pros here is that I'm comfortable with Evernote as a file cabinet for me. Relatively easy to create templates. Yeah, spaces and notebooks help with basic organization. Search for me is excellent. Your mileage may vary. I've heard a lot of people can't find stuff. I have no problem finding things. Forwarding the email is still really magical to me. I get emails, I get bills, I get stuff. My trip at IBCC to my special Evernote email address that they give you, and it works great. And Web Clipper, by the way, still best of class. If you want to clip something from the web to have it go to Evernote, it's fantastic. And actually, I did that way back when I had some connections between Web Clipper, Evernote, and Pipedrive way back in the day to make some automations there. So there are some great integrations there. Now, for me, the cons were it doesn't truly support account to multiple projects hierarchy. The structure became too flat or too siloed. There was really no middle ground. And honestly, the UX UI for me just didn't like it. Something about it did not work for me at all. So kind of hard to break my longstanding personal use habit on how I use it. And it just felt unnatural. So, and also just really no dashboards or overview for things. I don't know. My final verdict on this was after about the 3 weeks, Evernote just didn't stick for me. It's an amazing tool for me, for my personal file cabinet, for digital files, and I'll probably keep using that for a long time. And yes, I realize that it's its own proprietary system. It's not using Markdown per se. It's not a folder of documents like other apps use these days, but that's fine for me. I'm okay with that. But as an account management tool, right now, it just doesn't fit how my brain works or how I feel clients, my accounts need to have their content for me to see it consistently. So yes, I'll keep using it, but for personal capture, for account management, nope. A little bit too much friction for me, not enough structure. So there you have it. Onwards to the next tool. Stay tuned next month for that. And like I said, if you have any tools you want me to try or maybe look at, by all means, shoot me a message because I'm open to trying any of them. And I don't know what's going to work. Honestly, I don't know. I have an inkling of what might work, but I don't know yet. So we'll see. So next month, come back with number 2, and we'll go from there. All right, moving on. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week, it's 2 links. I'm gonna put these both in the show notes. I needed a way to get the date out of a LinkedIn post. And apparently LinkedIn posts don't show the date and time when you post them, like if you do any type of post. So there are two. It's a link date extractor. One is by Trevor Fox. The other one's by thefacilitator.com. I'll link in the show notes. For some reason, they just say 6 days ago, 5 days ago, 2 days ago. But I wanted the actual dates for some other purpose. So if you want to get the date of when something was posted, you get the URL of the post, put it into this little website, and it gives you the date and time. Pretty cool, pretty basic. So there you have it. Okay, I'll put those links in the show notes. All right, so that's it for this week. Nice and short. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon. That'd be great. I'd appreciate it. kitchensinkwp.com/Patreon. You can sponsor the show, fill out a form. I'll get back to you. We'll talk. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.